Good morning, traders. I'm Emily Bani, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Tuesday, June 17th. We are coming off a rebound Monday, as Bill called it yesterday. During regular trading, all three major indices closed in the green to start the week. The Dow advanced 317 points, or 0.75%. The S&P 500 added 56 points, or nearly 1%. The Nasdaq ended higher by 294 points, or more than 1.5%. Bill, let's get into today's action with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Hi, yes, good morning, Emily. Listen, we're watching the S&Ps. We're down 0.35%, which is actually pretty good because we're down, like 0.6% earlier this morning. So being down only 0.35% shows that we've been rallying for the last couple of hours, and that's kind of positive. The weakness, obviously, it's kind of due to the Middle East. Continues to weigh on sentiment. But yesterday, President Trump left the G7 meeting early. Now that kind of spooked the markets a little bit. Now there were no, announcement on trade deals. That's kind of a negative. But then he posted a comment indicating that residents of Tehran should evacuate the city, and that caused markets to be on edge, really. But but because they're worried about Israel, really doing more airstrikes on Tehran, so that's kind of an issue for the markets. But today, we got to start looking about the FOMC because that meeting, the FOMC meeting, starts today, and the announcement scheduled for tomorrow. And the Bank of Japan last night, they left rates unchanged. They don't expect to start raising rates till next year, apparently, according to the statement. This morning, we're seeing oil stocks and defense stocks moving higher. Solar stocks, on the other hand, they're falling. They're falling apart because Senate Republicans are looking for a full phase out of those tax credits. Economic data, we get some data on retail sales and industrial production that's due out this morning. On the earnings, we got some positive action going on in Lennar, J-Bill, and Wiley. They're all showing some positive action this morning. After the bell today, you got Lazy Boy coming out, but then we got to move our attention. We got to kind of take a look at what's happening overseas. Specifically, we're going to start off taking a look at Europe, and Europe is weak. I mean, no question about it. You got the DAX down 200 points, or 0.85%. It was down more, but it is rallying back a little bit as well. You got the FTSE down 28 points, or 0.32%. You have the Paris, the CAC is down 0.63%. It's really this, conflict between Israel and Iran that's dampening the sentiment. Taking a look at Asia last night, we did see the Nikkei. The Nikkei rose. I mean, the Nikkei was up 0.59%, or 225 points. Hey, the Bank of Japan, that's the key issue. I mean, they're talking about they kept short-term interest rates as is, and they're expected, that caused a little bit of a rally in tech stocks. Hong Kong, the Hang Seng fell 0.34%. Property stocks, financial stocks edged lower. In China was flat. I mean, it was down 0.04%. I mean, the sentiment remains cautious, on the geopolitical developments, but we're going to keep watching that. In terms of oil, listen, oil remains, hot. I mean, you got oil up over 1.5% this morning. You get WTI trading at, $73.13 a barrel. You get Brent at $74.77 a barrel. Trump calls for, residents of Tehran to evacuate. Israel's doing further strikes on that city. But overall, the market remains well supplied, and additional production nights are likely out of OPEC, and it is possible that Iran may block the Strait of Hormuz, which is the key traffic way for oil that transports about 20% of the world's oil. But I don't think they're going to do that. So, I mean, oil could be, weakening in the near future. We gotta keep an eye on it. But after the bell today, we get the API stockpile estimates. That's going to be a key one to watch. But that's what I have for you in terms of a morning market update, Emily.
Bill, as you just mentioned, that API stockpiles report will be a key economic event today. And you did point to a couple of other economic events today, not least of which is that FOMC meeting starting today with the announcement due out tomorrow. We will get to all of the economic events in just a moment and make sure that we gather all those details. Before we get there, let's take some notes on earnings action. Bill, what is going on there?
Well, you're going to start off with Lanier, the home builder, ticker LEN, Larry Edward Nancy. They missed by 4 cents, but it was done on higher revenue. That stock's trading higher this morning by 1.97%. Then you have J-Bill, John Boy Larry. They came out this morning. They beat by 23 cents on higher revenue. J-Bill is up 3.97%. And Wiley, WLY, William Larry Yellow, they beat by 16 cents on lower revenue, but that stock's up 8.43% this morning. Upcoming today after the bell, we got Lazy Boy, ticker LZB, Larry Zebra Boy. Their EPS is 93 cents and expect to move up 9.93% when they release this afternoon, Emily.
Bill, you'll be gathering those details using your NewsWare alert for earnings reports. And you also have NewsWare alerts set up for economic reports. As you've told us before, a number of economic alerts. There's a main one, but then you can break it down into other types of reports. And of course, Fed speak. So let's get there. Bill, what is going on in terms of the day's economic events?
Well, at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, we get retail sales expected to show a decline of minus 0.6% for May. Industrial production is also out this morning. That's coming out at 9:15 a.m. That's expected to be a little bit weaker. It's pointing to a minus 0.1% for May. You got import-export prices. That's coming out at 8:30. Then at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, you get the EIA oil inventory estimates. But, I think the key story could be, from President Trump. He talked about making a big announcement today. And, honestly, I think he could start talking about his replacement for Jerome Powell today, because, this is a perfect time as the Fed gets underway. I mean, he could introduce, his new pick for Fed chair, even though it's unconfirmed, in an effort to kind of put pressure on Jerome Powell and company to lower interest rates. So I wouldn't be surprised if Trump makes that announcement today, but it's something to keep an eye on. But that's what I have for you in terms of economic events happening today, Emily.
Bill, you'll be following all of that information, gathering it as it comes out, using your NewsWare. You're gathering those earnings reports, economic events, anything that is happening with the Fed, announcements from the president, and other market-moving news. You're following news, data, and information, things like merger news, guidance news, shareholders meetings, buyback news, and catalyst calls. You're looking at your stocks grouped together like your FANG stocks and your Dow 30 stocks. So, Bill, what else do you see is possibly moving the markets today?
I'm just doing a quick data check. I'm looking at my Dow stocks. I got 4 higher, 2 unchanged, 24 lower. Okay, I'm looking at my FANG stocks, showing weakness across the board. It doesn't really surprise me, but we're looking at some of the news behind the tape this morning, like Apple. A California federal judge ruled yesterday that Apple must face a proposed class action suit accusing the iPhone maker of illegally monopolizing the market for digital storage, causing consumers to overpay for iCloud services. Amazon. Let's talk about Amazon for a second. Amazon announced Prime Day. Now, they said that the Prime Day event is going to take place this summer, between July 8th and July 11th. It's 4 days. Typically, it's 2 days, but July 8th to July 11th, that's going to be 4 days, which I think they need to do to keep that Prime Day event special. Meta, Trump says he'll probably extend the TikTok deadline again. Tesla, Wells Fargo's out there with a note saying the fundamentals are worse than expected. Ooh, not good for Tesla. In terms of Dow Jones 30 stocks, we got to talk man. We got to talk UNH, Uncle United Healthcare, Uncle Nancy Henry. Senate Republicans appear to be abandoning efforts to cut costs in Medicare. That's causing some positive sentiment in those Medicare stocks. Boeing, ticker BA, I mean, it's a little weak this morning, but the State Department did approve the sale of advanced aircraft to Australia yesterday, valued at about $2 billion. Microsoft, they got a conflict going on with OpenAI because OpenAI wants to raise more money, but because they're owned by because Microsoft is a big investor, it's causing them some problems because it's kind of a conflict of interest, monopolistic concerns that the Justice Department has with Microsoft. So OpenAI has an issue with Microsoft being such a big investor. In terms of merger news, got to talk Eli Lilly, ticker LLY. They're going to be buying VEEV, Victor Edward Victor, Verve Therapeutics. That's a $1.3 billion deal. In terms of shareholders news, Etsy, ticker ETSY, they're having a shareholders meeting today at 9 a.m. Penn Entertainment, ticker PENN, they're having a shareholders meeting today at 10 a.m. In terms of buyback news, FITB, Frank India Tomboy, Fifth Third Bancorp approved a 100 million share repurchasing plan. And that's all I'm seeing for news in the tape this morning, Emily.
This is the type of data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional Newswire delivers. It is now that time of the show for the Trade Talk pick of the day. Bill, what do you have for us today?
I'm going with CVS Health, Charlie Victor Sam. I mean, that news about the Senate Republicans, abandoning their efforts to cut costs in Medicare. That's positive for the pharma benefit manufacturers. Talking UNH, we're talking Cigna, CI, CVS, and others. So that's a hot news story that really hasn't really unfolded much, but I am positive on it. You look at yesterday's call volume. 10,691 calls traded to 11,453 puts. Okay, but that news event came out after the day yesterday. Now, the open interest right now, 390,000 on the call side, 299 on the put side. That's positive. And the major brokers have been raising price targets on CVS. So I do like the stock. I mean, if I can get in 67.50, which is where it's bid right now, I think that would be, I think that would really be a positive trade. So my pick of the day, CVS Health, Charlie, Victor, Sam, at 67.50 today, Emily.
So you're looking at CVS Health today again, sort of trading the news cycle similar what you did yesterday. And in just a moment, we will do a recap on that pick of the day. But before we get there, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our hot off the press segment. Bill, take it away.
Okay. Wheels Up, ticker UP, announced executive leadership changes. ABM announces the new 5-year partnership with Miami-Dade County. J-Bill to invest $500 million to expand footprint in Southeast United States. We've got the Paris Air Show going on. GE Aerospace presented different versions of the future of flight. GE backed its unduct fan technology. NVIDIA to attend China's supply chain expo in July for the first time. Costco, ticker COSD, they're planning to open its first standalone retail fuel station next year in California. Biogen, ticker BIIB, they're having a shareholders meeting today at 9 a.m. Kraft Heinz, KHC, they're removing artificial dyes. They're trying to do it in their U.S. products by 2027. So, this is like Kool-Aid, Jell-O, Crystal Light, and other products. That's all I'm seeing this morning, Emily.
Okay, Bill, before we get to trading on this Tuesday, let's do that check-in on yesterday's pick of the day, which was Nike. Now, you made this pick after that strong retail sales data that came out of China. We're looking for a specific entry price. You'd be able to get a little bit of a run from there. Bill, how did your call work out?
Yeah, it kind of worked out. I mean, look at the fact the stock opened up at $61.38 and it ran to $62.18. So that's like 1% right there. So that's positive. But my entry price was $60.50. Never came close. It was way too low. But again, I wasn't comfortable owning the stock. Anything higher than that. But you look at the stock this morning. I mean, it's still holding a gain compared to yesterday's open. So yeah, it was kind of a winner yesterday, Emily.
I will count that as a win, able to grab that 1%, even if it didn't come quite close to your entry price. Still a chance for a win, and we will check in with you tomorrow about today's CVS Health Pick of the Day. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here tomorrow at NewsWare's Trade Talk when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Bonney, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.